Hey, I'm James from Smoking Dad Barbecue, and if you've been here before, you know this one. This is the Big Joe Series 3, and normally on this side is the Kamado Joe Classic 3, but I can assure you this is not my Classic 3 because it happens to be right over there. So type quick, let me know in the comments what you think today's reveal is going to be, see if you are correct or not, but that's exactly what's in store for today's video. So I'm going to reveal what it is that's hiding underneath this blanket, but more importantly, why I've purchased another grill. So I hope you were able to type quick because I'm not going to make you wait long since most of the video is the why versus the what. But with a drum roll, let's reveal my new grill purchase. Ta-da! It is a Kamado Joe Big Joe Series 1. So just what in the tarnations is going on? Well, I get asked two questions all the time. Hey James, is it really worth stepping up in the price from a Big Joe or a Classic Joe Series 1 to a Series 3? And often my answer here is, I don't know. The first one that I bought was a Series 3 Classic Joe, and I've never owned a Series 1 and Series 2. The second question that comes up even more often as of late is I've shared tips and techniques like the double indirect setup is how to recreate this on a Series 1 and Series 2 grill. And does it taste the same? Do I need these extra accessories? And third and most important here is the financial aspect. And so in local currency here, I was to walk into my local store and buy a brand new Big Joe Series 3. That would set me back about $3,600. I picked this one up and I am paying for this out of pocket. This is not a sponsored video. It's 100% my cost. So that's why I'm selling my Classic Series 3 is in part to help pay for this bad boy. But I bought this for just a little bit over $1,500. That means I can have a Big Joe Series 1 all local currency here for about $1,500. Add a slow roller, add a charcoal basket, add a chimney cap if I want, and I still have about $1,400 in my pocket, which is enough, again, in local currency to add a Kettle Joe, a Joe Jr., and still have enough left over to take my wife out for a dinner date. That is a big difference. Or if you don't want all those accessories, you could have two of these and still have about $400 or $500 left over in your pocket to do whatever you wish. So we've got some tough questions to answer, and I can't wait to get into those details with you. So what are some of the differences between a Series 3 grill and a Series 1 like the Big Joe that I've just purchased? Well, as you may be able to tell even just sitting here, is the Big Joe Series 3 is 4 inches taller. And so just like the Classic Series 3 is a little bit shorter, so is the Big Joe 1, which is why that's on a 4-inch riser in order to land at the exact same grid height. What this does is this gives us a lot of extra space from the charcoal, and this is handy for a couple things. One, if we're doing a rotisserie bird, we've got some extra clearance from the charcoal, so that height comes in extra handy. It also gives us more space to protect the bottom of whatever we're cooking from being overdone, and so that's where we could take advantage of the 3-tier divide and conquer rack versus the 2-tier divide and conquer rack on the Series 1 and 2, and get away with things like our double indirect setup on top of a slow roller. You know, you cannot fit the 3-tier divide and conquer rack, the slow roller, and the grid extender and everything in a Series 1 grill. There's just no hiding the fact that these two are 4 inches taller. What are some of the other differences? Well, first, if you go to give that a lift, is this airlift hinge that I can do with one finger operation. No problem. Let's give this the one finger. Yes, it's not happening. That is a two-hand effort. So the airlift hinge was something that was introduced for the Series 2 grills. Also new for the Series 3 grill is the inclusion of the charcoal basket. Now normally in the past, the Series 1 and Series 2 didn't have the multi-piece firebox, but I was really pleased when I brought this home from Lowe's that I saw that the firebox has been upgraded to the exact same latest generation that is included in the Series 3, which just helps prevent any issues from expanding, contracting ceramics and cracking. And so that is a great delight to see that. But the charcoal basket is something that is included. Airlift hinge that I mentioned, The gasket on the Series 3 is the oven grade mesh, which can withstand those high heats as well as provide an amazing seal. So this is the best gasket I've used on any Kamado style grill. Plus we have a difference in top. I'm often mentioning we're going to go to our first line, second line, third line, fourth line on our control tower top, whereas the Series 1 grill is using the daisy wheel. If you were using these in their included carts, the Series 3 comes with a brand new cart with storage underneath for things like your deflector plates or your slow roller, whereas the Series 1 and Series 2 have that older style wire cart. Doesn't really matter for me because I'm using both of these in a table setup and I'm storing all of my gear elsewhere here in the outdoor kitchen. And last but not least here was the inclusion of the slow roller, and this is actually what pushed me over the edge. In the past, over the past decade, I've mentioned before, I've owned 4 big green eggs, but when I saw the innovation and new features coming out, there was the hinge and the gasket and the control tower top, and that wasn't enough to get me to switch from green to red. But the slow roller, and reading that article, I think it was on Engadget, and it explained how a bunch of Harvard engineers have designed a system for better barbecue. This is the straw that broke the camel's back, and a couple years on, I'm so glad to say that there's absolutely a difference, and I've said it many, many times. The Big Joe Series 3 is the best breathing Kamado I've ever used, and I've used nearly all of them at this point. I had the opportunity to use pure ceramic Kamados, metal Kamados, and a whole bunch of different iterations in between, and so it absolutely stands up to its billing. But do we need to pay twice as much to turn out that same food? If I were to put on a blindfold, would I be able to taste the food that we cook on the Big Joe Series 3 versus the Big Joe 1? These are some of the questions that I have, and so I would love to now get a bit of audience response. Let me know in the comments down below what other questions you have you would like to see, and I will be sure to add that to the spring content calendar so we can answer this together. Is what do you really get, or what should you invest in if you're looking at the Series 1, 2, or 3 grills? I've got many, many other videos, so don't worry if you have questions between the Classic or the Big Joe. I've already covered that, so check out my channel history if you're interested in size differences between Junior, Classic, and Big Joe. But now that we've answered that and got hundreds of videos covering the topic, I am so excited to answer this question that has been filling my inbox of late, is can I recreate some of these methods, and do I need to spend extra for the Series 3? Let me know what you'd like to see in the comments down below. So that is it for the big reveal today. Thanks so much for hanging out. I've got to get to work on cleaning up my Classic to get it ready to sell. In the meantime, I look forward to hearing what's on your mind. What questions do you have between Series 1, 2, and 3? And really look forward to being able to answer these with more direct first-hand experience now that I've taken the plunge and bought myself my very own Kamado Joe Big Joe Series 1. That's it for today's video though. I'm James from Smoking Dad Barbecue signing off. Be sure to check out details down below for my members only section. This is one of the questions that came up in a recent members live. So if you're not part of that, check out the link below on how to get registered. That's it for today's video though. I'm James from Smoking Dad Barbecue signing off, and remember, don't be afraid to fire it up.